welcome back to another episode of the TB&J podcast. You thought we were gone. You thought we were dead, but we're fucking back, baby. And I'm cussing in the first 15 seconds, so we are already demonetized on YouTube. Not that we weren't
monetized.
We weren't.
There was no money.
No, I lose money every month, actually. Today's the first of the month, so I just got charged, actually, by Libsyn for hosting a podcast. Cool. So I'm negative a lot.
All you need to do is share it with 1,000 of your friends, each of you, and then we'll probably be close enough.
Then we'll be a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, just invite 2 friends,
and
then
they'll
those
invite
friends
2 friends.
And they'll all start podcasts, and those podcasts will be about our podcast.
We will start the TB&J Cinematic Universe. Speaking of cinematic universes, this is the conclusion episode for Secret Invasion, starring Sam L. Jackson and Emilia Clarke. I don't know why I said it like that, but
5
let's...
and 6.
TB&J! 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 Troy, I'm really excited. Troy, I am so excited because do you know what next weekend is?
Next weekend is August
12th.
12th. Gotcha.
Right. But do you know what that means?
Is that true?
It is true.
All right.
That means preseason football games will be starting. The NFL will be kicking off. And I would rather
you're
talk
saying
about...
next weekend, not... Gotcha.
I would rather talk about that than the fucking Secret Invasion TV show. All right. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
So we've been pretty, moderately positive.
Yeah, we've all been, cautiously optimistic. D especially, because D had a lot of really high hopes with the Skrulls.
Right. I'll have more to say. For now, I'm giving it a thumbs down.
Oh, thumbs fucking down. So this show... specifically, we're talking about episodes 5 and 6.
Yes.
So 5 is the aftermath of Talos' death and Gaia, and she's teaming up with Fury, and Fury's now a wanted man because Rhodey not Rhodey, I guess, released the video of Maria Hill getting shot by fake Fury. I forgot his name for a second. It was really graphic. Anyway, a lot of bullshit going on.
I would argue, not enough bullshit going on, really.
Yeah, right? I wanted more from this, and I didn't get it.
It's shockingly... So, okay. I think that we're a little late on everything. We've had a lot to catch up on and a lot to do.
Because D ran off to Europe. And
there was that. Barbenheimer swept the nation, became the biggest collaboration of movies of all time. By accident.
Yeah, kind
of. We did Asteroid City already. There's a lot happening.
I love that we did Asteroid City the day it got released on streaming services.
Did we really?
Yep.
That's actually good marketing, though.
I mean, I hope so. Let's check out the numbers later.
But I think that we should kind of do these together. I don't think that we should have any sort of structure. I think we can kind of just talk about it at this point.
Yeah, we're just wrapping up Secret Invasion. 5 and 6 are together.
Many spoilers ahead. Not that we've ever given that disclaimer.
Yeah,
we never
obviously
disclaim that, but it's your fault. You shouldn't have listened to us and thought we had things to say.
Yeah.
But we have been pretty nice to... I think that all of us have been not super entertained as far as I've read from you guys. I think that it has slowly... It's been like... It felt like it was sort of a slow burn, sort of more political, thrillery kind of show with the promise of it being more of a Winter Soldier type. Lots of spy intrigue and stuff like that. And
that's kind of what I was expecting.
And we were talking about it, and we were thinking about all these different twists that could happen, and hoping that at the end of it there was some sort of big multifaceted quadruple twist that made the whole show worth it. And it doesn't happen. It's basically a twistless show, but it's Secret Invasion where everybody is a shape-shifting Skrull, and we get very little of that And also, there's no interesting characters that are actually Skrulls.
Yeah, it's super
like Rhodey
bizarre.
is. Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it would be like, oh, he's a Skrull, and he's a Skrull, and she's a Skrull.
And
I was expecting more of that. And instead, what I got was, oh, there's a big bad Skrull.
Yep.
And there were no consequences for the fucking Skrull World Leader Summit shit that happened. Like, none whatsoever, right? Like, nobody gave a shit.
I mean, they
It
shot
didn't matter.
They shot Shooter McGavin.
Oh, man, Shooter McGavin.
Yeah.
They also tried to kill the Indian leader lady, but
Yeah,
she managed to
she
kill
didn't
the
die.
assassins and fight
the-
back.
I think that this is like this feels like a layup. Like they want to do big superhero Skrull stuff eventually.
Well, they have Emilia Clarke as Super Skrull now. Now that
Sure.
she has the harvest, all the DNA of every Avenger is in her. And she teamed up with, what's her name? The head of the new SIS now.
Priscilla?
No, not Priscilla. That's Fury's wife.
That's Fury's.
Sonya.
No, yeah.
Sonya is
yeah,
the British lady.
Yeah.
So Sonya, after assassinating her boss, the head of the SIS, because he was a Skrull, she became the de facto head of the SIS, which I don't think that's how leadership works in the British Secret Service, but what the fuck do I know? Or Secret Intelligence Service, whatever the fuck they want to call it. I believe the SIS is Marvel's fake MI6. Because I believe the British Secret Service or spy organization is supposed to be MI6. Or
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't fucking know. I'm American. I'm talking out of my ass.
Yeah, we live in the one country that matters.
Yeah, the one that God pays attention to.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's fucking fuck all of you.
No, but all right. So I don't need everything to be a shot for shot Watchmen style adaptation of everything.
No, but Secret Invasion was massive.
Secret Invasion is this show is pretty much Secret Invasion in just the name.
Which is kind of like what they did with Civil War. It was kind of just Civil War in the name and the premise.
Yeah.
Like the Sokovia Accords.
But it's more Civil War is more Civil War than Secret Invasion is Secret Invasion, I feel like.
Yeah, they were better with Civil War, but that still fell flat.
And well, I really like Civil War. I don't think Civil War fell flat. D doesn't like it.
I'm sorry. Let me backtrack that.
Sure.
Because I want to clarify. I enjoy Civil War. It didn't fall flat as a movie. It fell flat as a comic adaptation.
Maybe, I don't know. I have thoughts on Civil War. I like Civil War a lot, so I'm biased.
It's tough for all of this shit because in a lot of the big ones like Secret Invasion and Civil War and even like the Infinity War, the X-Men are such a huge part of all of that.
Sure.
Because there's just so fucking many of them.
Right.
And then they don't exist in this universe
Fantastic Four, specifically Reed Richards is really big.
Reed Richards is massive in
Civil
every
War.
crossover event.
But like I said, I don't need that specifically.
Sure.
But the whole marketing, the genius marketing that we were talking about for Secret Invasion for the longest time is like, who do you trust? And then it's just a bunch of different comic variants of your favorite superhero, but he's got a weird green chin and big pointy elf ears.
Great marketing.
And then the comic comes out, and it's basically a whole lot of people of like you figure out these people are Skrulls, these people are humans. They're all fighting back and forth with each other, and then a bunch of people start betraying each other, and you start realizing that this guy has been a Skrull for however long, and you don't know, and you start reading all the past comics, and you're like, well, when did he become a Skrull? And there's none of that in this show. There's literally like
zero.
There's Rhodey, and they sort of imply that Rhodey could have been since the end of Civil War, but I kind of think that they're not gonna say that.
Yeah, it's tough. We were talking about this briefly before the podcast, but when Rhodey comes back to reality, the real Rhodey from underneath of okay, well, let's backtrack that for a second. Complaints, all right?
Sure.
Fucking New Skrullos is an old reactor plant flooded with radiation. Radiation permeates the fucking ground. Unless you have those bitches in lead suits, everyone is severely radioactive poisoned. Some of them are probably dead, depending on how long they've been there, with liquefied insides.
Well, I think that what they're saying is that, like, the Skrulls they just don't...
This is an audio format, so you guys didn't see me violently roll my eyes.
Well, no, but that's been a trope in a lot of things of like there's a lot of comics where like it X-Men,
felt weird for the premise of them living in the radioactive plant to be Skrulls can withstand the radiation, humans can't. And then under it, you just have this prison of humans that you're using their identities for.
Okay, that's a good point.
It just seems like a really weird thing where it's like, this is super safe, and here's why. Great, that makes sense. Oh, and we have all these humans underground here. Wait, why? You just said that it was super dangerous and deadly to humans. Why are you keeping them alive as prisoners in the basement here?
That I did not think about. That's correct, actually.
I don't think it's even in the basement because she walks through like a medical wing.
Yeah.
I think it's just another building.
Yeah, that's actually correct.
And then they're all just walking out of that building and nobody's feeling the effects.
I concede that point. That's dumb.
That's super dumb, right? I'm not being weird here. That's super dumb, right? And then when they're coming back and fucking Martin Freeman looks over and he's sitting next to Colonel Rhodes and he's like, Colonel Rhodes, how long have you been here? Like, bitch, didn't you also just wake up? How do you know how long you've been here?
Actually, in fact, if you haven't seen him there, that implies that he's been there less time than you have.
I guess so, but I also feel like, did they know? Were they aware they were prisoners? Did they get attacked and overcome and then thrown into a thing and then put to sleep?
That would make more sense because like there's a few people who get there's one guy that we see who gets put into the thing who we actually is like aware of it before they put him in the machine. So
okay, even so, like that's the first thing you ask is Colonel Rhodes, how long have you been down here?
Yeah,
like,
it's
they
very,
clearly just want to draw attention to Rhodey and how he's wearing the gown and he can't walk.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, he's been down here a long time. Have some fucking faith in your audience that we could have put that together ourselves without Martin Freeman needing to tell us to look at it. Like, we definitely would have done that all on our own. We didn't need Martin Freeman to tell us. Or, if we didn't do it, then every other reviewer, like TB&J, would have done it, and then it would have been all over the internet in like a day. All right? So just calm the fuck down. You don't need to write clanky-ass dialogue so that we just look at your pivotal plot points.
That's a weird thing is the first 4 episodes, because I think 5 even suffers from some bad dialogue too, less so than the last one, but like the first 4 I felt like at least had like some really good speeches in it. And then we kind of get to the end of this and I feel like all of that writing suddenly disappeared.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened.
It almost feels like a different writer took over to finish the project. Like the first guy was like, I'm going to lunch, finish this while I'm gone. And it's like, what? It felt like
right,
I'm
going to the chamber where they electrocute me and you know, threaten my family. And,
oh Jesus!
Because I'm a writer in Hollywood.
Yeah. That strike is still going on. Did you see that? Not to get too off topic, the next Spider-Verse movie has been indefinitely delayed because of the strikes.
Yep.
So much for only a year-long wait between movies after leaving us on that shitty cliffhanger. Great cliffhanger. I felt shitty in the moment. I was like, fuck, I wanted more.
Yeah, well, we're talking about Secret Invasion. We just went to the writer strike. You're mad. I get it.
Yeah. How many writers do you think are Skrulls? No, all the CEOs are Skrulls. That's what it is.
Bob Iger being a Skrull makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. He's definitely got a green chin and pointy ears.
I think Zaslav's just like that, though. I think he's human. I think he's just a bad one.
It's so weird. So, eventually, the fucking Gaia pretends to be Fury and does such a great job of it, she even pretends to have radiation poisoning while taking iodine pills. I mean, first of all, if you're that close to a blown reactor, iodine pills ain't doing shit, all right? It's just not, all right? I know enough about radioactivity to know that your iodine pills aren't going to save you.
Yeah, but
if that was the real Fury, regardless of pills, he would have been dead by the end of it.
Think about this, he's tough, so I don't know.
That's right, he is tough.
He is tough, there you go.
He's real fucking tough. So, question for you, Troy.
That
machine that Gravik had made that gave him super Skrull powers.
Yes.
Did that only work on Skrulls?
I want to say
because he left Fury in there when he did the thing, and then got surprised that Fury stopped his punch.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's on you, bro, for not kicking him out first. And even up to that point, I was like, oh, are they going to give Fury superpowers? And then it's like, no, it's Gaia. And I'm like, okay. I guess that makes sense. And Gravik was surprised because the machine is only supposed to work on Skrulls.
Yeah, there's a missing line somewhere.
There's
in
a
there.
missing line of logic here
Mhm.
as to why Gravik didn't just push him out and then start the machine. Like, I don't. And then fucking Gaia would not have had Carol Danvers' powers.
Yeah.
Or the rest of the missing Avengers.
Mhm.
Gravik just played himself
Mhm.
for no fucking reason.
Yeah, I actually audibly in my own like room, when like that's not how this is. That's not what we're doing here, right? When he got his punch, and I knew kind of in the back of my head, I was kind of always expecting because they weren't showing who was shooting everybody in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I was sort of like, well, this isn't Fury. It's probably Gaia, or I mean, that's really all it could have been. There's not like another Skrull. I mean, it could have been his wife, but not really. It was gonna be Gaia if anybody.
Yeah.
And
Which, by the way, as soon as he put the eye patch back on, I called that he was going to have Gaia pretend to be him. Because if Gaia were to pretend to be Fury, I don't think her eye would have been glazed over, like blinded.
she probably could have.
I don't know if the Skrulls work like that. And that's the thing. They never really say if they do or don't in this universe. So, like, maybe if she did pretend to be Fury, her eye would have looked like her eye. It would have been fine. It wouldn't have been his eye glazed over, white, blinded. So he was like, eye patch time. That way, first of all, I can look cool for the posters. And second of all, Gaia can pretend to be me and hide her real eye. So, I don't know. Maybe. Who fucking knows? Who cares at this point, honestly? Like, that's such a tiny little fucking thing, and there's so many glaringly worse things to focus on.
So do we talk about this fight then?
I guess we got to talk about the fucking fight.
So the fight is really what solidifies it. Without this fight being this fight, you end off this show and just go, oh, that was kind of nothing. This fight sort of elevates it to like, oh, this is like bad, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, no shit on the actors.
Absolutely not.
The two of them did their job great.
Genuinely, actually, during Gravik's whole speech at Fury, I think if you just look at the
It really
lyrics,
was at Fury, not with Fury,
well, yeah.
right?
But if you look at the actual lines, he's the actual writing is like kind of dumb. Where he's talking about like how he's like, there's nothing that's ever really like foreshadowed from other stuff. Where he's mad about, like, this is the guy who's the first person you made me kill or whatever. Like, none of that's really in the text of any of the other episodes.
But that does feel like a comic reveal.
Sure.
They would absolutely do that in the comics.
Yeah.
Like in fucking the first one I can think of off the top of my head is Batman Black Mirror, where there's a serial killer running loose through Gotham, and at the very last like couple pages, it's like, oh, I'm Jim Gordon's son that he never ever talked about ever, and it's me who's been killing people, and it's like, oh, okay, that's cool, but like I feel like that happens a lot more in comics.
Sure. Yeah, but in you need to set it up somehow if it's like an on-screen TV show that's all planned out from the beginning.
The bar of mediocrity is a lot higher.
Yeah. So he's like going through that, and I think that the actor's performance, I forget this guy's name, but his performance fully carries the scene. Where you're like,
oh, absolutely. Whoever this guy is, he's gonna have so many fucking roles in the future, and I hope they are all better than fucking Secret Invasion.
I thought that I mean, obviously Samuel Jackson's a good actor. Everybody's sort of like
Kingsley Benadir.
Gotcha. Basically, everybody's like kind of general goofiness is kind of overshadowed by the fact that they're all like good actors who are doing their job. And I'm wondering now how much of that was the rest of the series, because I feel like the rest of the series was better.
The first few episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we got to the fight. And so the powers that they get is every Avenger and Thanos and the Black Order and extras.
So it gets summed up by Fury as anyone who spilled blood in the Battle of Earth. I had my Skrulls collect their DNA, and we called it the Harvest. Okay, but why? Why did you do that, Nick? Why did you not just make them wash it away with a fire hose? Why did you have them harvest the DNA of Earth's mightiest defenders.
Yeah, and so there's
Or is it Earth's mightiest heroes? What's the
Earth's
tagline?
Mightiest Heroes.
Heroes, that's the Marvel tagline.
And there's a lot of like comic books that straight up just go like, yeah, Nick Fury, he kind of is a piece of shit who will do anything. He's the ultimate ends justify the means kind of character. And I feel like they were afraid to make him like kind of the bad guy. And like the whole show is him basically being like, yeah, I was supposed to find you guys a planet, and then I got snapped, and now I just like kind of gave up on all of that, which like you need to kind of make him a bit of a bad guy character, but it came more across as he's just like, I kind of just got lazy. The game was on. God of War came out, and
it's all about the Mets, baby. Love the Mets. Go Mets. Let's go Mets.
Yeah, God of War Ragnarok came out, and I sunk a bunch of hours into that. I don't know. I lost track of time.
Yeah, you know how it is. You know, Priscilla got me a PS5 for Christmas.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
Yeah, I was very happy in the moment.
I've noticed that with Marvel, especially, is that they don't really enjoy or like to put the bad sides of characters in there. Like,
I think they do sometimes. Like,
the ones I'm thinking of, like the most famous examples are like Iron Man being an alcoholic,
okay.
and then you've got like fucking the original Ant-Man being like a wife-beating piece of shit.
Sure.
Like all those like super dark aspects of these characters, they don't quite exist in the current MCU. Like Iron Man, he's a non-committal, aloof guy who also saves the world and everybody loves him.
Mm-hmm.
But in the comics, he's not quite that. And I it's just weird.
Well, I do think that they do a good job with Iron Man, because even without the alcoholism, he still kind of has this whole vibe of like, he almost fits the Nick Fury role of like, I will do anything to save the Earth, and I have these visions of Thanos, and then you like build Ultron and shit, and then cause a civil war, and you like look at him and you're like take a second and like think about ethics, and that's supposed to be his whole character. And then he turns it all around at the end. And I think that fits, and they are good at doing bad aspects of him even without that part of it. But sometimes, like, I was talking to you before about Falcon Winter Soldier, and I have 2 points about that in this. And it's sort of the same point. Falcon Winter Soldier is sort of kneecapped by it talks about a lot of racial stuff. It talks a lot about what it means to be a black man who's Captain America, and donning the shield with the American flag,
which is a great premise.
Yeah, and
especially it came out like what, 2020?
Yep,
came out right around the time people were really talking about that.
Yep,
right after George Floyd.
Yep.
Lot of fucking big things in the news.
And it carries that okay for like 5 episodes, and then it has a final episode, and it kind of like doesn't fully wimp out on it, but it just kind of like fizzles into the most sort of like kind of like, the best way I can describe it is a very like Democratic Joe Biden liberal kind of way of like they
very
don't
middle of the road.
They don't really go in, they don't really commit to any sort of like very risky stance. They take the easiest sort of road of like, black people can be Captain America, and then that's sort of the beginning and end of that whole conversation. It's like, all right, well, there's more to this. I think that
you could have done a lot better explaining and going into detail,
and the thing
chose not to.
And the thing that's stupid about it is that well, yes. The main thing that's stupid about it is that people online complained about it anyway. There's people who made fucking videos about how it was too woke or whatever. So like, just do it anyway. If they're gonna complain about that, just do it.
If you know they're gonna hate you, you might as well go balls to the wall and deliver the story you want to.
Yeah.
And at least make the people on the other side enjoy your product instead of saying, "Oh, what a bland piece of shit."
And we've known from The Boys that people won't understand it until season 3 anyway, where they go, "Wait a minute, this show's political."
Yeah, or they'll be like, "Wait, Homelander's the bad guy?"
I thought you should have misunderstood an anti-hero. But my point about that is what this show sort of.
Which, oh my god, if you want to have a really good
Go for it.
interaction on Instagram with a celebrity, tell Anthony Starr that Homelander is the protagonist, and he will fucking unload on you. And it is so brutal, and he's just like, so many curse words. So many curse words. Oh my god, Google it sometime just to read them. It's chef's kiss. I fucking love Anthony Starr. Oh my god, what a great guy to play Homelander. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, but my point about that is this show sort of almost leans into like having some sort of political statement about like we have Dee pointed out that there is a woman Skrull who is Rhodey. That doesn't go anywhere. We have
it's never even like touched on.
It's never touched on again. We have, and it's like a big scene too. It looks like it's like a thing that's supposed to be.
It's kind of a reveal where it's like, oh, it's a female Skrull pretending to be Rhodey.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if she's somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
There's that. There is there's a lot of racial conversations between talk with Fury talking about what it means. Everybody's talking about feeling comfortable in their own skin all the time,
which is the thinnest veiled metaphor, and they could have embraced it so hard.
There is a lot of talks about nuclear war with Russia. There is a lot of conversation about immigration and integration. At the end, the president basically declares war on all and it's the dumbest
any non-Earth
thing. It's
person.
That one's so dumb. That one's so dumb because it's like, hey, y'all know that like people know about like Thor would be under that category.
And that's the next time Thor visits Earth, is he going to get arrested immediately?
I do. Well, they're not even arresting them; they're just shooting them.
Well, that wasn't Americans, or excuse me, that wasn't the army. Those were just vigilantes that were just killing people.
Well, the one that shot the one like senator, or congressperson, or whatever did, but there was like a whole SWAT team that broke into a news station and like shot Shooter McGavin, and I think that was the government.
Was it? You think?
I think it's supposed to be.
I mean, he was on air. I don't think the government would have killed him on air.
I don't. I think that's true. I think that they wouldn't.
I want to rewatch that scene because while I believe they were men with like automatic weapons,
yeah.
I don't believe they were government sanctioned.
All right, well,
because Fury says on the phone call at the end, like you've empowered all these vigilante groups to just hunt down people whether they're right or wrong, and you have just people just murdering inconsiderably in the streets.
Well, the way I read it was specifically that scene happens where they shoot that guy, and then Fury talks about vigilantes, and then you see the next woman get shot by somebody, and it reveals that she's not a Skrull. So I thought that they were
wasn't
government.
she the PM of Britain?
I think so.
Like, what the fuck, bro? You just assassinated the PM?
He does not just walk away from that the way he did. He gets the whole crowd basically gets lit up by sniper fire at that point.
I mean, I would hope so. We learned from Kennedy, like we don't let our fucking heads of state just waltz around with the dirties.
Kennedy was sniped from a mile away, not a mile away, but from a different location from a guy who's
depository.
Yeah, well, yeah.
The building that was in the
but he didn't walk up and shoot him and then
book depository, not suppository. That's a different thing.
But
oh my God! Speaking of, I was talking with my wife the other day, and she was like, "You should take me out tonight." And I was like, "What? You mean like on a date?" And she was like, "No, like a Kennedy." And I was like, "Oh my God, fucking savage!" Anyway, it fucking made me laugh really hard.
Yeah, but my question is, what was the political point that they nailed home at the end of this show?
I don't think there was.
They really didn't have one. I almost was like. At the end of it was in like after the fourth episode was sort of like I wonder where they're going with it. I almost felt stupid. I was almost like where are they like
I felt like I missed it.
I'm like they're putting a lot of building blocks that seem like they are political talking points that are being talked about right now Where are they looking to go with them? I don't necessarily know what points exactly they're about to make.
But you will know after you watch the Marvels in November.
I don't think I will. I think
No, I don't think you will either. But I'm saying, like, I felt like this whole fucking movie was just leading up to saying, hey, go watch the Marvels.
Does it? Because I feel like
it felt like it. I don't know if that's necessarily.
I mean, Fury drops Carol Danvers' name a lot, but I think he just drops Carol Danvers' name a lot because she's strong, and was in Captain Marvel. Like, I feel like it really barely ties into anything. I think there's a chance that Gaia could be in that. I think that if Gaia's in that, I think that she's never in anything again.
No, because Emilia Clarke is a busy lady. She's also an expensive lady.
Well, I don't think that factors in too badly because there's 900 of these actors who are as popular as her in these movies too.
That's a fair point.
But like, I just think that she has. They really should have thrown in a line of just like, yep, and these powers are really fading away from me. Because now there's somebody in the universe with all of the Avengers' powers and more. And it's like, well, how do you deal with that? How does that exist in the universe and the whole thing
How does that
broken?
not just break everything?
Yeah.
Like, I've never... That's just like the biggest cop out for a superhero.
That's not even Superman at that point. That's like
beyond Superman.
We're talking like it completely makes the other ones irrelevant. It feels like
I don't understand how you do that at all. Like what's her weakness? I don't like. We've seen that she can be shot point blank in the heart and live.
Also, we keep talking about, and that's before she has the powers.
That's before she has Danvers.
Yeah, she has.
She had the Super Skrull Serum version 1.0.
She has the Extremis, yeah.
Yeah, and then she got Super Skrull 2.0.
But they also, we didn't talk about this fight yet. This thing, they have every power of pretty much everybody we've seen on screen, except for like Quicksilver.
It was a little fun to be like, oh, I know who that is. Oh, I know that power. But look at the tiny little Drax arm.
But it all looks
flexing your little bicep.
But it all looks stupid.
It all looks so stupid. It looks so bad.
It looks bad. It looks stupid. And there's things that don't make sense about it. And also, the powers that they use, I believe, ghosts. Which is like, okay, that's cool. You can phase through shit. That's interesting. They fly. Okay. They shoot beams at each other. Okay. And then it is Hulk punch, Korg punch, Drax punch, and like Danvers punch. And then there's Mantis sleep at the end. And that's pretty much it. It's a lot of big guys who punch. If you look at the move sets of powers, you have like 15 guys that punch hard. And like, why do you need any of them?
Good question.
Why do you need to do Drax arm when you have Hulk arm? Also, how would they know some of these powers? How do they know Ghost powers who doesn't interact with anybody? And like, I can understand you could lean into being like, they know some Avengers powers because blank. Why would they know how to use Mantis's powers?
What a wonderful question.
Mm-hmm.
What a great plot hole you've just exposed.
My other favorite thing is when Emilia Clarke uses Drax's arm, she has the tattoos, which, does that mean that the tattoos are genetic?
I guess.
And also,
my only far-fetched explanation for that is that to tattoo somebody, you need like the needlework and maybe the ink got in his blood.
All right, well then I'm going to throw another one to you.
Oh, please do. Do you have another example of something like this?
When Gravik turns his hand into the Ebony Maw's hand and uses telekinesis. He has Ebony Maw's rings on his hand.
Okay.
How are the rings genetic?
Great question. Science.
Okay, all right, I'll take it. I guess.
It's just so that you recognize the Ebony Maw's hand.
I get it. I think if I saw a gray hand and he was telekinetically moving things, every Marvel fans, first off, Marvel fans are like half the globe. And also, if you have them moving around, like you said before, either all the audience is going to know who it is already, or they're going to see a thumbnail on YouTube that has an arrow pointing at it and says like Ebony Maw ? And then it's just everybody's gonna know.
You said
weeks.
that. I literally already saw it, and it's got like 24 million views.
100%, and it's by Screen Rant. Like
it's also a 24-minute video for no reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything you missed about the Gravik Gaia fight.
Oh God. I bet you $1 million that video exists already.
It's a Screen Rant. It's a CinemaSins. It's every.
It's also on IGN.
It's any big name like outlet of like we just got to make a
TB&J.
video about this
No, I'm
thing.
just kidding. We're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not dedicated enough and don't work hard to make thumbnails.
We're not even like minor leagues. We're like little leagues.
we're hitting the wiffle ball off the tee.
We're Pee Wee squad. That's about where we're at. We're the little rascals in the backyard just hitting a wiffle ball.
Speaking of which, rest in peace, Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah. Pee Wee Herman passed away.
But
why did you have to make me sad?
we were talking about Secret Invasion.
That makes you sad.
I do really like the.
I'm gonna be straight up. I didn't have high hopes for this show.
No,
I really thought it would fucking suck, and on one hand, I'm glad I was right, but on the other hand, I really wanted to be wrong.
Sure,
I want good fucking TV out there.
And I'm not on the doom spiral train of being like, oh, is this the end of Marvel?
Of course not.
I think this show disappears. We don't talk about it again in 2 months. And
as soon as the fucking negative reviews for Secret Invasion started hitting, they were like, "Oh, Loki season 2 trailer! Look at this!" And it's like, okay, cool. Like you're showing me Owen Wilson and
Loki
fucking...
season 2 will probably be good. The Marvels is maybe gonna be good.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say probably. I'd say maybe.
I think it can be. I think that some of the trailers have been fun. But like. We just got off the back of Guardians 3, which is really, really good.
So good.
But like it is just like, is this the worst Marvel thing in memory? What is the other? Captain Marvel's pretty bad.
I skipped Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel's pretty bad. And the Captain Marvel being bad sucks so hard because everybody who talks about it and they're just like, yeah, and fuck Brie Larson and feminism. And you're like, all right, well, now I have to go to bat for this fucking movie. And you're like, it's not even, I don't even like it.
But now I got to defend it because you're being a bigot.
There's that. There's, I don't like Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 is probably better. Hulk's fine.
Talking about Norton Hulk?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
It's like it's up there. I mean, if you want to get into the weeds, you have stuff like the Inhuman show, which nobody ever acknowledges, and Marvel's like, that is strictly not canon because it's so bad. And that's worse than this for sure.
Wasn't Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like really bad towards the end too?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was really bad at first. It was really boring at first. And then everybody said you have to watch season 2 and onward. I didn't do it, but I believe you. And then at the end, I think it slowly just kind of became a non-canon thing because it just doesn't fit with everything going on in Endgame.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
It's just, it seems like lately it's been a little bit tough for Marvel to find their direction. And it's different because, the whole Avengers saga was kind of planned out from beginning to end, and they didn't really craft what to do after the saga ended.
I think they had some plans. Like, I think
I'm not gonna.
stuff, yeah.
They probably had a skeleton of some sort.
Sure.
They didn't have a fleshed out plan the way they did for Phase 1 and 2 and 3. I think up to 4 was the end of the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had like all those phases completely like structured out.
Or no, Phase 3 is that. Phase 4 is what we just wrapped up, and then Phase 5 is now.
Okay, cool. So the first 3 phases were like completely sketched out before Iron Man 1 like hit theaters.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did it, everything was great, and now they're like trying to figure out what to do. They have an idea of where they're going, but it's not super fleshed out the way it was before.
More realistically, Iron Man 1 blew up. They had an idea of doing the thing. I think they have it probably a skeleton of it before Avengers. I think by Avengers 2 coming out, they have up to Endgame probably planned out.
Mm-hmm.
And things changed and moved around, and I think that there's things that ended up in Endgame that weren't planned out until probably before the filming of Endgame. Like there definitely was stuff that wasn't concrete, and people were like, "Oh, actually they liked a big example is they were like, "Oh, people liked Black Panther way more than we thought they would." And now suddenly we need to make Black Panther big. We need to make T'Challa show up in the final fight and have a whole scene where we just focus on him because people like him so much. And that's
just knowing how to pivot to better play to your audience.
Yeah, we need to have a whole fight in Wakanda now instead of where they're probably going to do it like New York or something.
Yeah, maybe. But no, Secret Invasion was a bit of a letdown. It was a lot of a letdown. I wanted a big fucking political spy thriller, and I got none of that.
And also, from even like the big cash grab Marvel perspective, there's like no reveals in this thing. Like because they do reveal at the end that there's like, oh, there's more Skrulls out there with more like bodies.
Great.
But like
that's not helpful.
But like what heroes are Skrulls is really what everybody went in the show wondering, and they were like Rhodey, and you're like, oh, so like Rhodey's gonna, and they're like, nah, he's not a Skrull anymore. They killed him, and it's like, oh, okay, so he's back to normal now. So are any of the Avengers Skrulls? And the answer is probably like, we didn't want to dish out $40 million to get Chris Hemsworth on set or something.
Exactly. And that's, the bullshit that happens when you're doing a TV show versus writing a comic. Because when you write a comic, you can just draw Thor over there.
But at the same time, you have Disney money. You can make it really good, and then you'll make a cajillion dollars back. It's different with a TV show because the money's not as direct as a movie in theaters. But, like, you can...
I think if it's a good product, it'll help your brand, though.
Mm-hmm. Of
your brand being fucking Marvel. Trying to keep people hooked on that fucking line of shows and movies you keep pumping out. But, who am I to say? I'm not a fucking CEO.
But you can even do a thing of, like, they won't do this one because I don't think Chris Evans would ever come back.
No, I think he said he's done.
I'm not going to say he would never come back, but he's probably not going to.
It would be more of a Harrison Ford situation with him with Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you would need to have a stupid fat check for him to come back. And then if he does, it's like, great, I need you to kill me off because I'm never doing this again.
But, like, you don't even need to show him. You can have, like, one of the pods, and it, like, zooms in, has, like, you could have, like, the shield next to it or something like that. I mean, the shield, Sam has the shield now, but you know what I mean. Like, just, you could hint at somebody being there without having the face of the character there.
Yeah, fucking just have his name on the fucking side of it,
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can do that too, but, who fucking knows?
Yeah.
We're not writers. That's, man, I'm so upset about Secret Invasion, man. I wanted it to be better. I wanted it to be...
I'll give a positive. I thought the one scene where they jump Gravik in episode 5 and they try to overthrow him, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's really my only note from 5 and 6 that I liked.
They probably should have tried to stab him earlier instead of just punching on him.
Yeah, I would have stabbed him pretty quick, actually.
Yeah, I feel like you need to strike fast and hard, Blitzkrieg style, and not, just...
It is after you've seen that he can stretchy arm Groot style through somebody's chest in an instant.
Yeah.
I would stab that guy pretty fast.
Yeah.
But...
Also, your operatives have guns. Where were they, and where were the guns?
Yeah, I'd shoot him in the back of the head. Actually, I would shoot him before he knew that we're jumping him. He would walk in the room, and I would shoot him in the head, and he would fall over because he got shot in the head.
Yeah, they definitely could have, worked on that plan a little better.
Yeah. But that was my positive.
Yeah, man.
So what's our letter grade for this show?
D. I want to give it an F, but it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
It's worse than just middle of the road average. It's a D.
It is worse than middle of the road average. Yeah, D is probably correct.
Yes, he is. But
no,
what's your letter grade?
I would never say that. The letter D is probably correct. I would never give him the satisfaction.
Yeah, Secret Invasion, big old stink bomb. And if you're listening to this, it means you also watched it, and I hope that we are validating your opinions.
Or you just didn't want to, and you just want to hear somebody else talk about it.
Maybe.
And you're now glad that you didn't watch it.
Anyway, that concludes this episode of the TB&J podcast. We will be doing more of these because I do them for fun.
Wow, what an interesting...
See how terrible that outro was? It just ruined the whole podcast.
I thought, well, the podcast was pretty ruined already.
Wow. Wow, way to put faith in your product.
No, I enjoy doing this quite a bit.
Okay.
We have to do a Barbie. We have to do
a
an
Barbie and Oppenheimer. We have to do...
I have seen both.
Oh, God, what was that other movie that came out that I wanted to do? Can't remember it off the top of my head. Because I'm bad at my job.
The Mighty Paw Patrol movie hasn't
Right.
Not out yet.
Right.
Not out yet.
Wait.
It's coming. It is coming. And people online are already trying to make it a new Barbenheimer situation. They're trying to force one in because it's the same day as the next Saw as well. So they're trying to call it Saw Control.
I hate that.
Or Saw Patrol, sorry.
I don't know.
And I think that they're both the same studio. So I think that unlike...
Is this a sequel to the Spiral one that had Chris Rock in it?
Who knows?
Okay.
It probably is, but they're all pretty... kind of independently. They're like, you can kind of watch most of them on their own. I don't need to watch the Saw movies, but I should watch the Saw movies.
What's the one that just came out with a new one? What was it?
The newest one, I believe, was what? Oh, you're thinking Insidious.
Insidious. Yeah, that one just had a new one that came out recently.
Yeah, and apparently it's crap. From what I've heard, it is garbage. And there's like 5 Insidious movies. I did not know this.
Oh yeah.
I was unaware. I did not know that the Nun was in Insidious. I somehow missed that entire train.
I fucking love horror movies. I'm in.
No, I do too. I think that the bigger, like, more overproduced they get, I kind of become less interested. Like, one of my favorite ones recently was like is stuff like X and Pearl, if you haven't seen those.
Yeah.
I like that type of stuff where it seems a little bit more like somebody has like a low budget like indie idea. Not indie, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I know what you mean. All right, that's it for this episode of the podcast. Thank you all for listening. Like, subscribe, do all the things. Nobody's listening to this part anyway. Have a nice day. I'm just being honest with myself.
I mean, somebody was probably interested in...
No.
Just give him... Give the last listener one last joke. Personalized to the listener that is listening. You know his name.
Dave.
And what is Dave like?
Fucking my wife.
Oh, okay. Well...
Why is that the joke?
I don't know. You did it, not me.
Bye.